Like I just said, DC Comics is a lot. I know almost everything about DC Comics. Trying to read more manga comics.
Hold on. New 52, yay or nay?
That's a hard one. I mean, I like the artistic style, and I like how they're trying to make them newer. I like the new costumes. I think it would be a yay. I think it's just need to polish everyone up. I think that's what they needed to do. Yeah, sure. I mean, they still keep a lot of the same things, but I mean, I just think it was just time. It was just time for them to brush up, get the
Sorry,
comic
what are we talking
better.
about? Well, I left for a second.
We're doing comics.
Oh, yeah, I heard you saying...
Hey, next time, just letting you know, next time if we do this, we just sit down, just don't say anything and just feed into what we're saying.
You're better seen, not heard.
I'm sorry.
But they can't see you either, so just don't exist.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thanks. I just heard you saying he knows a lot about DC, and then, yeah, Pete just knows a lot about comics. Period.
So, the new 52, I would say, it's good. I mean, like I said, it needs a little brush up, freshen up. Don't know much about Marvel, but I do know at the same time that Marvel did the same thing. Brushed up everybody. Now it's called Marvel Now instead of just Marvel.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Can I ask, because Red Hood and the Outlaws, I've heard it's been like the worst thing that's come out of the new 52.
Yeah, probably because Red Hood and the Outlaws. Probably the biggest reason why is because of Starfire. Starfire is now in the Outlaws.
Was she bad now?
No, she's not bad. The Outlaws aren't really bad or good.
They essentially, they turned her into just pure spank bait.
The spank bait, and they've...
I like Starfire.
And they've turned it spank bait, and she's... like all the rest, like sort of like this outcast person that no one really, talks to.
Reminds me a lot of Raven.
You know who Red Hood is, right? I hope.
Vaguely.
After the second Robin was killed, he was brought back to life as a Batman villain, the Red Hood.
Okay, that much I've heard.
By Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
Ra's al Ghul obviously is a huge Batman nemesis.
But speaking of that, I have heard good things about the Harley Quinn series and Batman Eternal.
Yes, those are pretty good. There's a lot of Batman.
Yeah, they got how many Batman books do they have running off of that?
Batman and Robin, because everyone loves Batman and Robin. And Robin is now Ra's al Ghul had a daughter.
Right, Talia al Ghul.
Talia al Ghul. Bruce Wayne married or had intercourse with.
One is not necessarily indicative of the other, man. It's 21st century, man.
Here we are. Just say it.
And
also, there's a shorter word for intercourse.
Yes.
They conceived when she. Well, they did not conceive.
God damn it, Peter! They had sex.
Yes.
They had a child. Stuff happened.
Shut up.
This.
Come on,
This isn't a Japanese high school. We don't need to be uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, anyway. Boner slapped her titties around, stuck inside her, and peed.
Yes, that's what Batman did. Anyway, they had sex and they had I forget his first name.
Damian Wayne?
Damian Wayne, yes. He is now the new Robin. He is a little bit more sadistic than most of the Robins because of the Al Ghul side of him.
Right, because he has all that, what do they call themselves? The League of Assassins or League of Shadows?
A League of Assassins.
Yeah, so he's got that training in him, which... I mean, Batman got the same training, but,
Yeah, but instead of Batman was an adult who went over there to train. This kid's
right. He was raised in it.
Yes, he was raised in this, so he's a little bit more sadistic than Batman. And Batman all the time has to moderate him, check on him, make sure that he's not gonna go crazy, batshit crazy. Get it, batshit crazy. Anyway,
I see what you did there.
It's almost 1 a.m, okay?
Yeah, I was about to say it's 1:45.
There's Red Robin. He's
Yum.
arrow to the face, straight to the face. There's Red Robin.
Oh, God.
I think he's the oldest one. I think he was the first one.
Not Nightwing?
No, there's Nightwing. I'm sorry. Nightwing is obviously the
yeah, you told me about this before.
There's
in the
Nightwing.
Past with Nightwing. I forgot what it was.
There's Nightwing. Then there's Red Robin, who's the second oldest of the Robins. And then there's Red Hood. And now, of course, Robin. So there's a couple different Robins doing their thing. Red Robin has now started a new Teen Titans following after, Grayson. Following after Following after Grayson's Titans, which we all know, that the series of Teen Titans, that was the first Titans. The set new Titans are pretty cool too, different abilities. Obviously Red Robin is still the main guy, however, I believe Cyborg is now just watching over them.
I love Cyborg.
He's just watching over, making sure they're okay. He doesn't do anything for them. He just watches the tower. He's now part of the mainframe of the tower. He took himself and put himself into the mainframe of the tower.
So is he still a person, or is he now like just an AI?
Well,
or something?
He's still.
Well, like you know what I mean, like Iron Man, like the whole Jarvis thing.
Well, yeah, but now but he's now part of the mainframe of the tower. He's still human in an abstract way, I guess.
Okay.
He retains his personality.
Yes. But he doesn't have an actual physical form anymore?
No.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Yeah. I should have put it that way.
Yeah. So, but but yeah, so the New 52, there's lots of changes. I mean, in the New Teen Titans, they even have one gay guy, but his powers are really cool. Reason why, and there's a Mexican guy. I think they're just trying to get more diverse with their people that are in there, not to be racist or not to be sexist. They're just trying to get everybody in.
Because you've seen some of those like really early Superman comics, they were kind of racist.
Yeah, they're trying to lean away from that, trying to like say this is for everyone can enjoy it. But
I've seen the new Ms. Marvel. They made her I think it was like, I don't remember specifically but which region, but they made her a Middle Eastern girl.
Yeah. And if anyone's wondering, still this question, why Captain Marvel is now named Shazam, this is the reason. There Marvel in 2010 when the New 52 and Marvel Now started. Marvel decided, after giving Captain Marvel to DC, and so for a couple of 20 years or longer, he's been Captain Marvel, and everyone's known him as Captain Marvel. Marvel in 2010 decided to make a character named Mr. Marvel, and they said, no, actually, Captain Marvel. And they said to DC, well, we know it's been 30 years or whatever, but now we want that name back.
You can't have that name anymore.
So DC had to be like, well, screw it, I'm going to have to do something else. So they called him what he says.
Shazam!
However, that's what he says when he transforms, Shazam. So they just decided to call him Shazam.
I like Shazam. Was Black Adam already his rival beforehand, or did they create him with...
Black Adam's always been his rival, ever since Captain Marvel. Actually, Captain Marvel was more... He looked more... In the comics, he looked like Superman. He had the same. He looked identical to Superman.
Well, do you have any idea how many Superman clones they came out with after he became a success?
Yeah.
Wasn't there something that you and I watched a long time ago with like Superman and Santa?
He was Marvel's version of Superman.
Superman and Santa.
Yeah, like Superman beats up or kills Santa or something. Or was there something? I think it was something related to the Nostalgia Critic. You showed me something, and it was just messed up. And it was something with Superman and Santa.
I think you're talking about the atop the fourth wall episode where they made like a bearded Superman in the future who uses guns.
Yes, that's what it was. I don't know why I'm thinking Santa, but
just because of the white beard.
I think you started calling him Bearded Santa or something like that.
Called him Bearded Idiot.
Yeah, Bearded Idiot. That's what it was. Okay, never mind.
But yeah. So
thanks for derailing Pete again.
Yes. So anyway, now Shazam is more of a teenage kind of guy. That's just I think he's cool, but. That's the story behind Shazam and Captain Marvel. Any questions?
Yes. Will this be on the test?
Taking notes.
Everybody at home, drop this down.
This is your homework.
Pete's schooling y'all.
But
get educated.
Comics I've been reading because I've only recently sort of gotten into comics. Like I started like really getting into them at the beginning of like my college years. Like I kind of just missed out on all of it during like high school and everything. And I had to take a comparative literature class, and the teacher, he gave us like classic stories and then like modern ones, and some of the modern ones included comics.
That's pretty cool.
So we compared, I think we had to look at similarities between Beowulf and Watchmen, and then The Fall of the House of Usher and the Dark Phoenix Saga in X-Men. Since then, I've kind of steadily been looking into comics. I've got a pretty nice collection going now. Like, started getting into Sandman by Neil Gaiman, which is like one of the like 90s comics. Mm-hmm. No, that song is literally in the comic at a point.
Really?
Yeah. But
Nice.
ones I've been like actively reading now, Saga.
I really enjoy Saga.
Is my favorite.
Derailing, Trevor.
No, it's related. This kid, I never would have heard of Saga if it wasn't for him, and it's cool. I like it, especially since you're doing your voice acting thing. Last time we were hanging out, instead of reading it, Jason played audio of him that he had done of all the different characters and the different voices from Saga, and I honestly have never heard of it. You were exposed it to me, and it's awesome.
Yeah, just to practice voice acting, I've recorded myself doing all of the parts in Saga just to get practice, just because I like that comic so much. I've got 4 of the trade paperbacks. Read through all of them. It is absolutely my favorite comic that I'm reading right now. Brian K. Vaughan is now one of my favorite writers of all time. Premise of Saga, for those of you who don't know, is it's set in, this big, fantasy kind of space universe. Of course, there's a universe in space, but shut up. So you've got these 2 factions who are warring between a group of, humanoid people who have wings and a group of people who have, horns. They're mostly, goat horns. And a central conflict revolves around 2 of the members of the conflicting, armies basically fall in love, get married, and have a kid. And they're both immediately declared, defectors and traitors by both of their sides, who start hiring freelance mercenaries to kill them before the public finds out, because they want to keep they want this war to keep going, and they're like, oh, we can get along. No, you can't. No, shut up. No. But the series is narrated by their daughter, who at the beginning of the series, she's just been born. She kind of guides the storytelling.
I really do like how it's narrated that way. And then there's my dad and my mom. I like it. It's a cool perspective.
Yeah, it's the style of how the story is told. Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars meets Game of Thrones. But it is seriously one of the best written things I have ever read. Pete is slowly leaning into me, and
intimately, if I might add.
What?
I don't know. I do like how it's stylized too. The art, the way everything looks.
Fiona Staples is untouchable.
It is just beautiful. It is.
You see so many, movies where they just do the blue and orange in every shot. This is just, crazy. You get your pinks and your greens and, all these colors, you don't see, ever on, most shows, because they want to be, all realistic and gray and brown and earthy.
Do you have any of the books down here, or are they upstairs?
They're upstairs.
Oh, man. I'm just going to just flip through it. Probably the only time you'll ever see giant ogre genitalia, I should say, drawn to detail.
Yes, that's the core appeal. If you want giant ogre balls, you've come to the right place.
You got it.
I remember the first time I flipped pages, I was just hi.
It is sexually explicit, but as opposed to we were talking about Rosario Vampire in High School DxD, this is very much on the other end of how it's handled. Correctly. Very,
just not.
It's maturely handled.
Yes, that's how I should have worded it. It's just amazing. It's it's eye candy every time you flip a page and just look. Eye candy.
I read it was an interview with Brian K. Vaughan, the writer, and he was talking about how we have robots having sex in the first issue. We thought we weren't gonna get through the first 3 issues.
What was the one you told me about having to change pulling it from the shelves because of the cover art?
There was a problem that people had with the cover of the first issue, and by extension the cover of the first trade paperback, where you have a shot of Marco, the male lead character, and his wife Alana, and Alana's got their kid in her arms, and she's breastfeeding her. It's the kid's Hazel, her child, is covering up everything. It's just she's there in its position so that it looks like she's breastfeeding. But Image Comics contacted Brian after the issues were released, saying, "Look, we've got some comic shops that they don't want to have this comic on their shelves because it depicts breastfeeding." And at first he was like, "Well, that's crazy. I mean, have you seen some of the racy covers that are on comics?" He's you got, we can chop off this guy's head here. This woman can just barely show anything but her nipple on this. But God forbid, it's there's a baby.
Jeez, man, what's your thinking?
But so...
Breastfeeding, that can't be a thing.
That's not what we want to do with those.
We don't approve of those shenanigans.
I can't handle breasts that aren't in the vicinity of what I want to do with my pants snake.
Okay.
Well,
but then recently they came out with a hardcover like deluxe version that collects the first 18 issues together, and they doubled down on it and they showed a different perspective of Hazel breastfeeding on Alana, where it's like really zoomed in like on her, and then you just got like this entire corner that's like taken up by her breast. It's still like you don't see no nipplage, but
nipplage.
Aw, that's depressing.
He showed you this already.
Why do I let you around me?
Because
look at your own nipple.
because you feed me, so I keep coming back.
Yeah, so essentially they doubled down and they put out another cover that has basically the same thing, just even more in your face on it. And they said the idea behind that is if you are seriously, put off by just the idea of us having a breastfeeding child on the cover of this book, it is not for you.
Yeah, I like that. Just making a statement. Like, are you serious? There's way worse crap out there than just that.
Like Trevor.
Thank you.
Anytime.
But
okay.
The only other there's from the same guy who made Y the Last Man. It's essentially what got him so much of the success that he has today. Saga, excuse me.
I say you.
Yeah, I just spoiled it.
I knew you were gonna go with this, and you went backwards.
Yeah, I did it backwards. But
this is not scripted, by the way.
What essentially got him like a lot of the recognition that he has now. Brian K. Vaughan's one of his earlier series, Y the Last Man, which I have 2 of the deluxe versions of, and the concept behind the series is, what if suddenly in 2002, all of the men on Earth, except for one and his pet monkey, they die just instantly. All of them just cough up blood and then just fall over dead.
Death Note.
And a lot of the obvious thing is like, oh, last guy on Earth, well, I'd better repopulate. But
creepy laugh.
There's more of, instead of going the obvious route, there's more like, oh my god, this just happened. What are we going to do with society now? Like, there was so much of this male-dominated presence in all these jobs. All these women are going to have to take over. They're going to have to run things. They're going to have to figure out, okay, what just happened? Is there a way to fix this? If so, how do we fix this? How do we continue humanity with only this one guy left? Pete, shut up.
I expect
does he basically
But look, there's nothing else.
Basically, was there a reason that this guy survived? Like, does he have the cure, or is he just all that's left?
You just get lucky. Extremely, extremely lucky.
Look, I wouldn't care about that crap.
Well, like,
You'd be repopulating, of course you would.
One of the things they throw in as like a question was, okay, so say there were people in outer space when this happened, some of them males, like astronauts, and they're like, okay, well, how would they be affected? Would they, if they died in space, then what would that mean? If they were still alive and they had to make it back down to Earth, okay, then what would happen from there?
Get on that shit.
Get back very carefully.
So what would that mean? It would mean something would have been like triggered globally. Like, it's not just an act of God, all men die.
All men must die. That's okay.
The only other thing I've been reading regularly is Empowered.
I don't think you've mentioned that one.
It's a manga sort of styled superhero book. It's essentially like a superhero satire book.
Okay.
The idea is the main character, Empowered, like that's her superhero name. She has like a pretty generic set of powers. She can like shoot blast, super strength, whatnot, stop bullets, all that.
Wonder Woman.
The problem is she has this really skin-tight membrane as her suit. And also intense, like, body issues. Like, intensely
Like-
self-conscious about her appearance in it. Like, essentially, the problem is, the suit, if it gets torn, cut, damaged, her powers start, like, rapidly diminishing. Like, they're gone.
So if essentially that gets damaged, her powers get weakened and damaged too.
So essentially,
Asians are weird.
she and her superhero, like, group, she is a joke to them. Like, they give her no respect whatsoever. Her suit gets cut, she loses her powers, and then she, like, gets tied up and kidnapped, and
Princess Peach.
it's become a running joke for them. Like, they'll leave her tied up, and then they're like, ah, look at you.
So they just kind of mock the whole superhero thing.
Well, it's essentially mocking, like, how, like, female superheroes, like, how they're given, like, those really, like, revealing, like, outfits and
Clothing.
whatnot. Poking fun, like, tongue-in-cheek.
Sort of making fun of like women. Yeah, like you said, womanize.
It's essentially making fun of, like, the state of, like, women in comics.
Okay.
Being
Sort of
very
thing.
sexist, but in a funny way, I guess. Just a more comedic feel the whole time.
It's comedic, but, I mean, it's essentially her, like, journey to, like, trying to become a respected...
prove herself?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
I mean,
But
like,
then just stuff happens and people just bash on her.
right, she gets no respect, like, public or teammates or anything. Like, she has, like, eventually she gets a best friend, she gets a boyfriend, and then, like, sort of like a redeemed supervillain. Like, her first, like, real step was, like, she actually captured and contained, like, an apocalyptic supervillain threat.
That would gain some respect.
Interesting.
But yeah, extremely well written. Like, it actually has, like, a lot of really, like, heartfelt moments. Like, she has, you know, the suit that, like, tears and whatnot. You're like, you know, you're actually, like, really brave to be, like, trying to superhero around in a suit that is that heavily, like that easily damaged. Like, her boyfriend goes like, these guys are invulnerable. How hard can it be for them to be, like, brave and, like, face,
Yeah,
you know,
put into
crime
a
and
weakened
whatnot?
state, yeah.
You could lose your powers at any second. You
Die.
could be tied up or a guy could kill you. He's like, so that's actually really brave of you to be doing that.
Interesting
That
concept.
makes sense. I haven't really read anything as of late. I mean, there were comics I enjoyed forever ago. Like, remember who wrote it? You ever heard of Runaways?
I've heard of it. Did they make a movie out of it?
I'm not
Or
sure. if
or am
they
I just
did.
thinking of a
I didn't know
movie with a
about it.
similar title?
Probably. I didn't hear anything about it.
Okay.
But, oh man. Yeah, I found this when I was in high school. It was in the school library, I believe, or I think the Schomburg Library. And it was all these kids who all had different superpowers. Like, the one girl was kind of like a black mage, but the only way she could use her powers was by, like, willingly, like, bleeding, or, like, if there was blood around, like, it was just, she was able to trigger a spell.
What is with you in blood?
I know. First thing I talk about is Deadman Wonderland, and I'm back to blood as the source of powers. But there's her, there's this other girl who's actually kind of like Starfire. Like, she had this bracelet that she wore, but for whatever reason when she took it off, it, like, revealed, like, the extraterrestrial side of her, and she was, like, glowing and shit. And there's this other kid who was kind of like a pyromancer. I think another kid with strength, or, like, his family made all these gadgets. But, like, these kids are all hanging out, and what they eventually end up accidentally discovering is that all of their parents that are meeting and why they're there, they are all supervillains. And they have all formed this collective group, I forgot what they called themselves, to just, like, destroy all heroes and take over the world. And they discover this thing.
So the kids are the heroes, the parents are, like, the
Yes,
villains.
they actually end up becoming enemies to their own parents.
Weird.
When they discover that they're this cult of, like, 12 villains, because there's, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them or something.
So it's like they call themselves the Runaways.
Because they're
Right.
just like, screw you guys, our parents are villains.
Screw you guys, I'm leaving home.
And they become runaways. They run away from their parents, they, like, try and hunt them down and find them. But, like, when I was reading that, it was amazing. I really wish I could remember more and read more. I mean, I'm sure by now.
And so
it's
the
like,
parents formed the, like, allegiance of the get back here and do your homework.
No, it was more like, come with us now or we have no choice but to kill you. Like, it was just really, really cool, and like betrayals and people turning on other people, but like just the variety of powers and just the fact that you have kids who, you know, their parents want them to become villains like them, you know, having the choice of, well, you know, do I side with my parents or do I end up, you know, just sticking with all these people that I don't quite know as well.
You gotta be honest, this is like reeking of adolescent angst right here.
Well, it had a very strong rebellious nature to it, but it's just like it was really cool.
Like that couldn't be like more on the nose if it were like an extra nostril.
Man, I don't want to go home. I'll go out and play.
Screw my bedtime. I don't know. I haven't really read comics as of late. It's just one of them I remembered from
We'll bash into his head to read more.
Ago. I do enjoy Spawn. Spawn is one of my favorites.
I remember being kind of meh on the Spawn animated series, but I
actually own that.
I know, you brought it over.
I own, like, it was like 16 or 18 episodes of all that was ever made, which was actually HBO, believe it or not.
Yep.
And it was,
HBO made
what
fucking
really,
Sex and the City and Entourage. I mean, they're not flawless.
It was really really dark and awesome. But yeah, I managed finding that and actually a disc replay.
I saw a clip of Spawn on YouTube that I actually kind of liked. There was a bit where he's like fighting a vampire or something.
Okay.
And then he's like, "What kind of heaven sends a creature like you after me?" And then she goes like, "A kind that wants to win."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's I actually like that line."
Yeah, I've always loved.
There's a point there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved the concept of Spawn, of just this, you know, raging battle between heaven and hell and angels and demons, and actually angels who are evil, and just this hell Spawn deciding that he wants nothing to do with leading hell's army.
So it's
great.
sounds like the underworld in I, Frankenstein.